YN's POV. I blinked multiple times so my eyes could adjust to the lighting of the new area, although I couldn't see well yet. I still realized I wasn't by the front doors anymore, nor was I with the rest of the class. My arms shook as I lifted my sore body from the ground. As my eyes adjusted, I fully took in my new surroundings, only to find multiple villains surrounding me. I pulled myself off the ground and prepared myself to fight, but my weight dragged me back down to the ground, hitting it with a large thud. I grabbed my ankle that I realized was sprained and did the best I could to keep them away while sitting on the floor. I shot out water in all directions, but it was getting harder and harder by the minute. I hadn't had anything to drink since the bus ride, so I wasn't as hydrated as I needed to be to defeat these guys. My cork started to weaken and I quickly became out of breath. I had woken up in some sort of fire zone, so that wasn't helping much with my cork either. The heat was quickly dissolving my water midair before it reached the villains. Just as my cork had about reached all I had in the moment, someone blasted past me with incredible speed. As soon as the figure landed, I recognized him as Todoroki. He defeated the villains before they could reach me. As Todoroki was distracted, a villain ran at me as fast as it could. The villain carried a bow and arrow as choice of weapon, and he shot an arrow directly at me. Before I could react, the arrow was caught midair. Bakugo turned and looked down at my small figure and said under his breath, "TCH. Useless still." I was glad yet embarrassed that Bakugo had helped me again. Todoroki and Bakugo fought villains side by side until they defeated all in the zone. "We need to move quickly. We don't know when more will try and attack," Todoroki said, and Bakugo miraculously agreed. Without hesitation, Bakugo reached down toward me and grabbed my arm. With one swift movement, he pulled me onto his back. He moved his hands from my arms to my legs to hold me for support. As soon as I was sure he couldn't see my face, I felt my face heat up. And not because we were surrounded by fire. WTF is happening? Bakugo is giving me a piggyback ride? He looked over his shoulder and did his best to make eye contact with me. I am only doing this because of your stupid ankle. And because Izawa would probably give me detention if he found out I left you here. Wow, my hero. With me on Bakugo's back, him and Todoroki were running to the front lines, back where the villains had first appeared. The boys decided to attempt to take them down. As we reached the main area where they had appeared earlier, we all saw Mr. Izawa, bloody and beaten, clearly losing the fight. We found some cover and quickly hid. Before I had the chance to say anything, Todoroki handed me a piece of ice. I gave him a questioning look, to which he quickly replied, "If we're gonna help, we need as much power as possible. I don't know if me and Bakugo can do it alone." I nodded and took the ice from him, sucking on the piece and slowly giving myself energy to use my cork again. As I was finishing up the piece, I asked the boys what our plan was, which probably wasn't the best idea. The boys fought over whose plan was better. Todoroki wanted a skilled, well-thought-out plan, and Bakugo just wanted to surprise attack. I deadpanned while the boys continued fighting. "What do we have here?" A deep voice suddenly spoke. "A couple of kids who think they can do something." We all looked up and came face to face with another villain. Only this one's brain was on the outside of its head. There wasn't much to say about this one. It was completely and utterly terrifying. He went to smash the area we were in, which caused all of us to jump in opposite directions. Bakugo's POV. This isn't good. Now we're separated. We had a chance if we were all together, but now it's impossible. We're just playing their game. I blasted the shit out of the villains that surrounded me, but it didn't make a difference. It was never ending. As soon as I'd take some down, they'd come back even stronger. Unfortunately, I knew I needed someone as backup. YN's POV. I barely dodged the villain's attack due to the pain I felt in my foot. I couldn't stand. And the villain who'd said his name was Nomura quickly figured that out. I tried to crawl away and find some cover, but you can only move so fast when you crawl. Nomu didn't have to try very hard to catch up to me. When he did, he grabbed my foot and lifted me up off the ground. Before he could, literally, tear me apart, I blasted a huge wave of water into his face. causing him to drop me. I had to ignore the pain if I was going to fight this guy, so I slowly stood, putting as little pressure on my foot as possible. I wouldn't give him a chance to fight back. I immediately shot water spears in all directions towards him, but he knew what was coming. He swung his arm, causing the water spears to come back in my direction. I broke the spear's form before my own weapon could be used against me. The battle between me and Noma continued. He didn't seem to be getting very tired, but I couldn't say the same about me. I was getting dehydrated again. The ice Todoroki had given me wasn't much. If I didn't get any water soon, I wouldn't want to find out what he'd do to me. Todoroki's POV. These villains were easy to defeat. It was obvious they were just regular thugs with nothing better to do with their quirks. I froze the area around me, freezing the villains in the process. I calmly looked around for anyone who might have needed an extra hand. Not too far from where I stood, I noticed Lian. She was suddenly thrown to the ground by the Nomu. I rushed over there before things got much worse. The Nomu kept breaking the ice I tried to freeze him in. As I fought him, I quickly handed Lian another piece of ice. I'd be the one needing an extra hand. Bakugo suddenly came out of nowhere, jumping in front of me and blasted a huge explosion in the area around us. I looked around to see why he made such a big explosion and only then realized was back on her feet, and hundreds of villains had the three of us surrounded. We backed into each other. The safest way to fight them off was with our backs touching, not giving them an opportunity to sneak up on us. I froze and crushed villains left and right, kept the villains in balls of water, slowly torturing them as they lost their breath. Just about when they were out of air, she'd throw them across the arena, hopefully leaving them too tired and out of breath to come back for us. And Bakugo, well, he was doing what he does best. Scream like a maniac while blasting the shit out of villains. As the fight continued on, we almost didn't notice the number of villains decreasing. We stopped to take a breath and see what made them lose interest in us. We carefully made our way to the middle of the arena, where we saw none other than the symbol of peace. All Might stood confidently, and an endless amount of villains faced him, all ready for battle. This won't end well. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss anything I post.